I wanted to put together a list of 7 different places that I think are the perfect place to go on your first solo trip. Hey you guys, my name is Natalie. I have been solo traveling around the United States and Europe for about 2.5 years now. Maybe you're really anxious, maybe you're really excited and you're like, where do I go first? Well, one of these places will definitely hit the spot for you. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Number 1 on my list is New York City. It is super easy to get around, so there's no need to rent a car. Basically, you just get a hotel or an Airbnb and you are off. Bring your good walking shoes because you're going to be walking around. You can see a lot of different museums that are free. Walk around and enjoy all the different neighborhoods and stop in different cafes and try different bakery items. Or if you like more street food or Chinese food, you could definitely hit up Chinatown. I really like New York City because of the food opportunities. I'm a huge foodie. So you have Chinatown, you have Brooklyn, which had really good food as well. And a lot of the food places that are like street food or in Chinatown especially are really cheap. So if you want to go somewhere and not spend a ton of money, then New York City is a really good option for you. However, if you do like fine dining and you like more of like the upscale restaurants, New York City also offers those options as well. I didn't go to as many of those options just because I was trying to not spend a ton of money, but you can obviously ball out at Nobu or different Michelin star restaurants if you prefer that vibe. You might be worried that you're going to be lonely or you're going to be all by yourself. The thing about New York City is people are honestly really nice and friendly there and will talk to you. So I remember sitting in a park and I was just sitting there eating my slice of pizza as one should. And all of a sudden this person came up to me and was just like, hey, you want to play checkers? Because I was sitting at one of the tables that had checkers and we just played a game of checkers. Like honestly, it's so easy to just, pick up conversation. And there's also such a blend of different cultural people in New York City. And the food is amazing because there's so many different cultural food options. So the one downside to New York City is the prices of hotels and Airbnbs are like through the roof, kind of crazy. When I went there, I did stay at a hotel in the middle of Soho, like Chelsea area, and it was really nice, but it was really expensive. Like I think I dropped almost $1,000 for 2 nights. So it's crazy because you pay for the hotel and then there's also resort fees on top of that. So just be careful when you are reserving and just make sure you're aware of what is included in that total price. Just getting around is really easy because you can jump on the train or jump on a bike as well, like a divvy bike. I do think it is a great option for your first solo trip. Just obviously be careful when walking around at night because anything could happen. But the second destination is Chicago. So I actually lived in Chicago for about 6 years in a ton of different neighborhoods. So I know the city well. And honestly, I think it's a great option if you are solo traveling because number 1, the hotels are really cheap and you can get a hotel in the nice area of Chicago, like River North or close to the Loop where you're like on the river. I will note the Loop in Chicago is not the same anymore. After 2020 happened, it is not the same. It is not super safe to walk around unless it's the middle of the workday, like 9 to 5. Otherwise, try not to go to the Loop. It's sketchy, okay? If you're going to get a hotel along the Riverwalk or right in River North. The food scene in Chicago is amazing. There's a lot of cool coffee shops, but the restaurant scene is absolutely superb. So you'll have a good time if you love food like I do. You can also walk around and like hit up the beach. You can go to the zoo. You can just sightsee. You can go shopping. Like there's a lot to do in the city and you don't need a car as well. So you can jump on the L and the CTA system is amazing. You can jump on the train for like less than $3 or maybe it's like $3.50 to jump on the train and then you can get anywhere in the city relatively fast. So no Ubers or you can just walk everywhere. So your options are like the train, walking. It's just great. So if you want to go on a budget, you can do that. Otherwise, you'll still have a great time. It's relatively safe. I wouldn't recommend walking around at night by yourself at all. Just try to get all the exploring out during the day and then go from there. I'm just being honest with you guys, like if this is your first solo trip, I never liked walking around or driving around at night anyway when I was solo traveling. I still don't. It's just like if you're in a brand new place and you don't really know the vibe, just don't do it. You don't need to risk it, My third destination that I would recommend you checking out for your first solo trip is Lisbon, Portugal. It's a beautiful place to go. You will feel like you are in San Francisco and New York all at the same time. Lisbon has this beautiful red bridge, which looks like the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. There's some architecture that reminds you of New York as well. It's kind of like a combination of the two. The streets and sidewalks are very hilly and steep, so you'll feel like you're in San Francisco. The reason why Lisbon is great for solo traveling is because I felt really safe the whole time that I was there. It is a touristy spot. There are a lot of tourists around, so you're not going to be the only one traveling there, which honestly, if I'm going to a new place for the first time, I want to make sure it is kind of a touristy spot so that I can feel safe. But as you become more experienced and you're a more seasoned traveler, then you want to go to the places that people don't go to as much to really feel the full experience of that destination. That's just my opinion. So Lisbon is right on the water, but there is no beach in Lisbon. The reason I like Lisbon though is because that could be your home base, and Airbnbs are not super expensive too, which I really liked that. And I was like right in the city center, so that was awesome. But you can jump on a train and then go to any of the cities that are right along the water. And so that's what I did. I took a day trip to Cascais, and I might be saying that wrong, and that was absolutely gorgeous. And I spent the whole day on the beach and just checking out that city, the town, and I loved it. One day I went across the bridge and I went to another town, I will throw up the name here, and I went surfing. So like that was a really cool experience, and I felt like I was in a completely different world. As you travel outside of Lisbon, the food gets even cheaper as well because it's not so touristy. So if you're looking for a safe place where you can kind of set up home base, I liked Lisbon a lot. A lot of people also speak English there. Plus, there's a ton of cute cafes. So if you're into like fun coffee drinks, getting like, the aesthetic pictures, Lisbon has the cafes for you. And also the pastries are fire. My fourth destination that I recommend you going for your first solo trip is Malibu, California. And Malibu is actually the first place that I went to on my first solo trip ever. It's incredibly safe, you guys. Like, very, very, very safe. I mean, don't do anything stupid, but it's safe. Like you could literally throw an expensive designer bag on the beach, walk away from it, go on a beach walk, come back, and it would still be there. Everyone speaks English, which is good. The food here is amazing, super fresh, and you were so close to Sun Life, the original location in Malibu. And so you can get amazing acai bowls, smoothie bowls, juices on a day-to-day basis. You can enjoy the ocean and watch all the amazing sunsets. Or if you want to climb some mountains and go hiking, you can watch some sunrises and just appreciate nature as well. It's just a really good time to reflect. So if you want to like go on a more of like a nature oriented trip, Malibu would be the place for you. There's also a lot of cute boutique hotels in Malibu that are right on PCH. So like you really get a cool experience. The first time I came here, I went to the M Malibu and I liked it. My room was kind of small. I ended up going to another hotel, which was down the street, which is the Malibu Inn. And I love that hotel. Like you have a whole balcony, like deck to yourself. And some of the rooms also have hot tubs, like personal hot tubs, which I got one of those one time and it was awesome. And you're like steps away from Zuma Beach. Zuma Beach is the most incredible beach because if you rent a car, by the way, like if you go to Malibu, you'll definitely have to rent a car, but you can get that through Turo for like a couple $100s. I always get a Tesla because it's fun. And you could park your car right on the beach and literally like a couple steps, you're on the beach. So Zuma Beach is the place to go. You can go check out Point Doom and just see the beautiful views of Malibu from there. I mean, it is exceptional. Malibu is the place to be. All right, my fifth destination that I recommend is Boston, Massachusetts, and Boston. I went to Boston a couple years back, and I actually have a full vlog of my journey there, so I'll throw that video up here and in the description box down below. I felt very, very safe in Boston. To be honest, I was exploring the city like during the daytime, so that was good. I did not rent a car. I walked everywhere, so that was also convenient. You can jump on their public transportation, but honestly, I walked everywhere. So I don't even think I dropped a dime on the subway or buses or anything. It's a very walkable city for sure. There's also this trail called the Freedom Trail, is Boston's iconic 2.5 mile trail, which connects 16 nationally significant historic sites throughout Boston. It's basically just a good way to learn the history of Boston in a very short time frame, and it's just fun to like walk around and see the city, and there's like a path that you like follow throughout the entire city, so you'll know when other people are also doing the Freedom Trail, and it's free, by the way. You'll know when other people are doing it as well because they're following the same path as you. The food is really delicious there. There was an amazing acai bowl place that I went to and I fell in love. They put like a whole scoop of like this brownie fudge thing on top and a peanut butter scoop. Like I was in heaven. And And there's just history everywhere. So if you love history, you love walking around in history, Boston would be the place for you. And it's not super expensive in terms of food. Hotels are a little bit more pricey, but I'm sure you can like snag a good Airbnb if you need to. The 6th place I recommend traveling to for your first solo trip is Zurich, Switzerland. Switzerland is a beautiful country and it is very expensive as well, but I felt so safe in Switzerland. It's unreal. I got a really good deal on an Airbnb, so get those Airbnbs and you'll be good to go. The food's really expensive, everything is expensive, but you'll feel so safe. So if you're not afraid to like drop a little bit extra money, Zurich will be the place for you. It's very bougie. There's a lot of shopping to do. There's a lot of historic sites to see as well. There's a river that flows through the whole city, so you can just walk along the river and just enjoy the energy within Zurich. There's also a lot of hiking trails that you can take, and it's so easy to get to by jumping on the train. So their public transportation is so clean, so efficient, so amazing, expensive, but very nice, okay? So you can jump on the train, the high-speed train, and get to any of the nearby cities and go on exceptionally beautiful hikes. I mean, it's gonna blow your mind. It's like the stuff you see in movies and you think it's not even real. It is real. It's Switzerland. Everyone is super nice as well, like very friendly. And then the 7th place I recommend going for your first solo trip is Amsterdam in Netherlands, okay? Amsterdam is the city of bikes. So you can walk around everywhere. You can ride your bike everywhere. Definitely, I would recommend renting a bike. It is kind of intimidating though, because all of the locals are riding bikes and they do not stop for anyone. It's like very intense, but you don't need a car, so that's a plus. It obviously is in Europe, so it could be like your first international trip. The food is really good. The bakery items in Amsterdam, amazing. There's also a lot of like cheaper little like food items that are very iconic and popular that are cheap. So you'll get really good food there. It's a great bang for your dollar. Airbnbs were super cheap as well. So that's another plus. Like you won't be spending a ton of money. It'd probably just be like the flight would be the most expensive thing. But I felt super safe. It's a beautiful city at night. Like you can walk around at night and not feel you're in danger. So that's a plus. But like you'll just want to take pictures of everything. It's very picturesque. Those are the 7 places I recommend going for your first solo trip. I've been to all these places personally, and I've done a lot of solo traveling. I've seen 15 countries plus the US. I just think those places are a great spot to start. So let me tell you, when you go on your first solo trip, you're gonna get addicted. So if you need to know what to pack for your first solo trip, check out this video here. Also, if you're worried about your safety, you're worried about like, okay, how do I not get hurt? Am I gonna survive this thing? I made a video about how to be safe on your first solo trip as well. That is it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.